I'm normally the kind of person who apologizes when someone bumps into me. The guy who lets people merge in traffic. The one who holds the door open even when you're still 20 feet away. But tonight I stood in a snowy parking lot, shovel in hand, and screamed at a complete stranger to move his car. And before that, I dumped a massive pile of snow directly onto his windshield. Why? Because he blocked the only exit. And I was done being nice. If you've ever been the person who keeps the peace, who bites their tongue, who lets things slide to avoid conflict, but then something pushes you just a little too far, this story's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe if you love tales of people finally standing up for themselves, and settle in. Because tonight, I'm telling you about the moment I completely lost it in a parking lot, and honestly, I don't regret it. Let me set the scene. It's the middle of winter. The kind of winter where the snow doesn't just fall, it piles. Where you wake up and your car's buried under a foot of fresh powder and the windshield's frozen solid. I live in an apartment complex. Decent place. Nothing fancy. And the parking lot, it's a disaster. See, the management company's supposed to plow after big snowstorms. That's what we pay them for. But did they plow? Of course not. So the lot's just chaos. Cars stuck at weird angles. People spinning their tires trying to get out. Everyone fending for themselves. My girlfriend and I had been dealing with it all day. That morning, I spent 20 minutes digging her car out so she could get to work. Shoveling snow. Chipping ice off the windows. Pushing the car while she gunned the gas. Tires spinning. Until finally, it broke free. She left. I went back inside. Thought that was the end of it. But then she came home that evening. And of course, someone had taken her original spot. So she parked somewhere else. Somewhere that was also completely buried. I looked out the window and saw her car stuck again. Engine running. Wheels spinning. Going nowhere. I sighed. Grabbed my coat. Grabbed the shovel. Here we go again. By the time I got outside, my hands were already numb. The temperature had dropped. The kind of cold that stings your face and makes your fingers ache even through gloves. I started digging. Shovel after shovel. Scraping the snow away from her tires. Clearing a path. My back was already sore from this morning, but I kept going. My girlfriend was sitting in the car, trying to rock it back and forth. I waved at her to give it some gas. The tires spun. Slush sprayed everywhere. But slowly, the car started moving. Yes, I muttered. Come on. She backed up, turned the wheel, started heading toward the exit. And that's when we saw it. A car, parked sideways, right across the only exit to the parking lot. Not in a parking space, not pulled off to the side. Just sitting there, blocking the way out, like it was the most natural thing in the world. My girlfriend stopped, rolled down her window. Are you kidding me? She said. I stared at the car, then at the blocked exit, then back at the car. Something inside me snapped. I don't get mad very often. I'm the peacekeeper, the mediator, the guy who takes a deep breath and lets things go. But right now, after digging out the same car twice in one day, after my back aching and my hands freezing, and spending an hour total in the cold just so my girlfriend could leave, and now some idiot had blocked the only way out, I felt the anger rising. Hot, sharp, unstoppable. I walked up to the car. Empty. Nobody inside. I looked around the parking lot. No one in sight. So I did what any rational person would do. I leaned on the horn. Honk. Long, loud. Obnoxious. I held it for 5 seconds. 10. 15. Nothing. No movement. No one came running out. I got out of my girlfriend's car and just yelled. Whose car is this? My voice echoed across the parking lot. Still nothing. My girlfriend was watching me through the windshield, eyes wide. She'd never seen me like this. Honestly, I'd never seen me like this. I pulled out my phone, called the apartment maintenance line. It rang and rang. Finally, someone picked up. Yeah, hi, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. There's a car blocking the only exit to our parking lot. Can you get it towed? The guy on the other end sighed like I'd just asked him to solve world hunger. We'll send someone out to take a look. When? Can't say for sure. We're pretty backed up with the snow. I clenched my jaw. So, what? We're just stuck here. Just sit tight. Someone will get there eventually. He hung up. I stood there, phone in hand, staring at the car that was trapping us. Sit tight. Sure. Great advice. My girlfriend rolled down the window again. What did they say? They said someone will come out. Eventually. She groaned. I looked at the blocked exit, then at the snow piled everywhere, then at the shovel still in my hand. An idea formed. A petty idea. But at this point, I didn't care. I walked over to a nearby snowbank. The one I'd been digging through earlier. I scooped up a huge chunk of snow with the shovel. And I mean huge. Solid. Packed. Heavy. It was perfect. I walked over to the car blocking the exit. And I dumped it. Right on the windshield. Thump. The snow spread across the glass like frosting on a cake. Thick. Wet. Covering the entire windshield. I stepped back. Looked at my work. It felt good. Really good. So I went back for another scoop. Thump. Another pile. This time on the hood. I was just lining up a third scoop when I heard it. What are you doing? I froze. Turned around. And there he was. I walked over to a nearby snowbank. The one I'd been digging through earlier. I scooped up a huge chunk of snow with the shovel. And I mean huge. Solid. Packed. Heavy. It was perfect. I walked over to the car blocking the exit. And I dumped it. Right on the windshield. Thump. The snow spread across the glass like frosting on a cake. Thick. Wet. Covering the entire windshield. I stepped back. Looked at my work. It felt good. Really good. So I went back for another scoop. Thump. Another pile. This time on the hood. I was just lining up a third scoop when I heard it. What are you doing? I froze. Turned around. And there he was. A guy. Mid-30s, maybe. Bundled up in a winter coat. Stomping toward me from one of the apartment buildings. I don't know if he'd been sitting in his apartment watching, or if he'd just come back and saw me burying his car. But he was mad. What are you doing? He repeated, louder this time. And here's the thing. Normally, I'd apologize. I'd stammer something like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize," and back off. But tonight I was done. I dropped the shovel, turned to face him fully, and I yelled, "You're blocking the only exit. Move your car." My voice was louder than I'd ever heard it. Raw. Angry. The guy stopped. Stared at me. For a second, I thought he might actually swing. My heart was pounding. Adrenaline flooding my system. I'm not a fighter. I've never been in a real fight in my life. But in that moment, I didn't care. He took a step forward. I didn't move. We stood there, eye to eye, the tension thick enough to cut. And then, he blinked. The guy muttered something under his breath. Shook his head. Then he walked over to his car. Started brushing the snow off his windshield with his arm. Angry. Rough. I just stood there. Watching. Part of me, the old me, almost felt bad. Almost wanted to help him clean it off. But I didn't. I just waited. He got in his car. Started the engine. And he moved. Pulled forward. Out of the way. Disappeared down the street. The exit was clear. My girlfriend drove through. I walked over and got in the passenger seat. She looked at me. Eyes wide. Did you just yell at a stranger? I exhaled. Long and slow. Yeah, I said. Yeah, I did. She laughed. Not a mean laugh. Just surprised. I've never seen you like that. Me neither. We sat there for a second in silence. Then she said, "I'm proud of you." I smiled, still shaking a little from the adrenaline. Thanks. But here's the weird part. As we drove away, I started feeling guilty. I know that sounds ridiculous. The guy was clearly in the wrong. He blocked the only exit. Trapped everyone. Didn't care. And I just dumped some snow on his car and yelled at him. But still, I replayed the confrontation in my head. The look on his face. The way I yelled. Part of me felt like I'd overreacted. Like I should have been calmer. More reasonable. That's just who I am, I guess. The guy who apologizes even when he's right. But you know what? He deserved it. He really did. And honestly, even with the guilt gnawing at me, I don't regret it. Because for once, just once, I stood up for myself. I didn't let someone walk all over me. I didn't bite my tongue and let it slide. I drew a line. And I held it. And that feels good. Really good. Sometimes being kind means standing up for yourself. Sometimes keeping the peace means making a little noise. And sometimes, the best thing you can do is dump a pile of snow on someone's windshield and yell until they move. If this story made you feel something, whether it was satisfaction, secondhand adrenaline, or just a good laugh, go ahead and hit that like button. Drop a comment and tell me. Have you ever snapped at someone who totally deserved it? What happened? And if you want more stories about people who finally stood up for themselves, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for listening. Sleep well. And remember, it's okay to stop being nice when someone's blocking your only exit.